So welcome everyone to our masterclass today. We're so excited to be talking about how to perfect your CX. And we have Jess Grossman from In Social here, and I'm Lindsay Kolinsky. I am the partner marketing manager here at Okendo. Jess, if you want to go to the next slide. So while most of you are probably familiar with Okendo, just in case you're new to our community here, Okendo is a Shopify marketing app for high growth D2C brands. We have best in class product ratings and reviews, customer photos, videos, UGC, Q&A, etc. And we work with over 5,000 fast growing D2C brands. So in terms of today's masterclass, why we're here, as part of our Okendo community, we really work with so many amazing partners in the space that are experts within e-commerce. So we've put together this masterclass series to bring those experts in to discuss the most popular topics, that our community is interested in. So of course, today is CX, which we're excited about, and hopefully you'll leave here with some actionable insights that can really help you with your strategy. So the great thing about today's masterclass is that it is interactive. So please ask Q&A. We'll be running Q&A through the Zoom chat. Make sure to write your questions into panelists and attendees. There's a little blue button at the bottom. You can click to switch that to make sure that everyone can see your questions, but we'll be actually answering your questions throughout the webinar. So really great that this is an interactive format and your opportunity to ask Jess all your questions about CX. And then last but not least, you'll receive a recording of the webinar and a copy of the presentation within 24 hours. So we'll be sending that out. So keep an eye out for your email after that. So with that, just a quick update on the agenda for today. So Jess will be going over her full circle approach to customer experience and customer service. We'll be talking about the critical touch points that you need to be aware of and responding to, best practices, how to handle when things go wrong. And then, like I said, we'll be doing Q&A throughout the presentation. Make sure you're asking, but we'll also leave some time at the end if you didn't have a chance or you missed your opportunity throughout the presentation. So with that, I will be kicking it off just to start today's masterclass.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. It's my first webinar with Okendo. Not sure if you've seen me with some other partner webinars, so I hope I'm not repeating myself, but what I'm going to talk about today is basically what I talk about all the time, because this is how my company and I live and breathe digital marketing and customer service. So I really hope that you're ready to dive in with me today. But before I talk about all my expertise, you're probably thinking, who's this girl? Why is she here? Why did Okendo pick Jess? So I want to give a little bit of a intro into my company and who I am. So In Social is a full service digital marketing agency. So we actually do everything from organic social, paid social, email marketing and automation, website design and development, influencer marketing, branding and design, and customer service. Now, why do we do all of these different things? Well, because when I first started the company, I was kind of freelancing. I was like, let's see how this goes, and ended up, getting more work, so needing more people. And now we're a team of 20. But when I started the company, we really just did organic social. But we kept getting to a point where a client would say, well, how is this contributing to my bottom line? And I'd have to explain to them, well, organic social, doesn't just work in a vacuum. All we're doing is building this credibility for you. We're, creating great content, building a loyal fan base. But organic social doesn't drive ROI. You need to do all these other things in tandem with organic for it to work. And so when I kept hearing this from clients, I started saying, well, we can help you with your email marketing. We can help you with your website. And I started hiring people and building out the company that covers all of these bases. And, we'll talk about how each of them kind of contribute together in a little bit. But the purpose of what I'm going to talk about today, specifically with customer service, is that it doesn't exist in a vacuum. All of these other things have to work together. So just a little bit about me. I've been in digital marketing since I was 16. So basically when digital marketing existed, I promise I'm a lot older than I look. It's been a long time. I have a BA from Western University in London, Ontario, and a master's degree from NYU. And I've been doing this kind of stuff for a really long time. I was a strategist, community manager, project manager, and now I run in social. And I also have an awareness campaign about ostomy surgery. So if you don't know what that is, look it up and you'll find me there as well. So needless to say, I've been doing all of this stuff myself with my team for a while. So I think that's why, others call me an expert. I still think it's weird myself, but I appreciate when when I get, brought in as one. So what is the full circle approach? What does that mean? And why does it matter? So, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has thought about this, but I like to think that I'm the one that's kind of coined it. But essentially, the definition of the full circle approach to digital marketing is engaging strategically and cohesively with your audience on every touch point your brand can and should exist on to foster credibility and build a loyal customer base. So that's, me trying to put a lot of ideas into basically a quotable sentence. But at the crux of it, it means that not one of your digital touch points works alone. As I was saying earlier, if you're doing organic social, you're sending people to your website. What are they doing once they get to your website? Someone purchases from you and then they have a customer service question. What are they experiencing in that moment on your store, and how are they going to experience you again later when they may see another ad? All of the customers that you either have or will have or could have are going to experience your brand in a different way. And so your job as the brand owner is to make sure that that experience is consistent. Like, nothing bothers me more than a poor customer service experience. Like, my team makes fun of me because I'm not a great customer when things go wrong. When things go great, I love it. I'll talk about a brand, but when things go wrong, I'm the type of person to be like, well, we do this. Like, I know how you can do this better. And it frustrates me to no end because I understand how a negative experience can impact, a brand as a whole. And so when someone is experiencing you at whatever point, they need to feel that they trust you end to end. Someone's going to see an ad or, get an email forwarded from a friend or hear about you on TV or wherever your touch points are. And they're going to get an expectation of you. They're going to feel like they understand what you're selling, what your products do, what your brand voice is, and then they're going to trust you and buy your product. And then, hopefully they have a great experience, they come back again. But if they don't, they need to trust that, well, they were so great up until I purchased that by the time I come back, I should expect that I'm going to get that same level of quality in my post-purchase experience, especially if there's an issue, right? So that's kind of how we think about, this full circle approach, is that every little touch point that someone's going to experience is going to affect another one and another one and another one, ultimately creating this customer experience end to end. So we'll talk a little bit of, individual touch points later down the road, but that's a high level definition. So I'm not a designer and we're really busy, so I couldn't get a designer to do this on my team right now. But this is supposed to be the high level overview of what full circle looks like, right? Kind of like if you can imagine how all these pieces work together. And I know it's a little bit hard, there's a lot of arrows going all around, but I think that's the point I'm trying to make here, right? Is someone could come through an organic search on Google, come to you, buy from you, get a post-purchase email from Klaviyo, and then have a question come through support, have a great experience through an SMS conversation, and then leave a review on Okendo, right? Then they'll tell a friend, and that, through text, and then that friend, might sign up for your email list and then decide to purchase and then follow you on TikTok, right? So this is basically just a very high level, understanding of how all these touch points can push people in different directions. So hopefully this kind of, really solidifies what I mean. I know it's chaotic, but that's really what it means. And so what's important to understand here is cohesivity. I don't know if that's the right way to word it, but collaboration across your whole team, whoever's managing whichever part of your business and your brand. And that goes back to why in social we do so much now, is because we realize how important it is to do it all together. And so if we're going to do, a sale, a client comes to us and says, Black Friday, obviously they come end of September, they want to talk about Black Friday. We've been planning since July, but they want to talk about Black Friday. And we as the team have to say, okay, if we're going to do a Black Friday sale, middle of November, There's going to be a website update. There's going to be emails. We have to update the email flows because maybe we don't want to give discounts during the Black Friday sale. The customer service team is going to have to be trained on what the sale is. And so we as a team, everyone from project manager to customer service rep, we call them our digital support squad, we have to talk about it as a team so that when we're implementing this campaign, those messages, the way we're approaching it, what we're offering, what the expectations are, is consistent across everywhere that a customer is going to exist. Now, specifically in customer service, like I said, that's where things go wrong, and we'll talk about how we can fix that. My favorite, most recent example is I always shop Black Friday. I'm both a perpetrator and a victim of Black Friday, and I have very specific stores that I shop to. And this year, I didn't see a Black Friday sale for one of my places that I shop. I'm not going to call them out. And so I tweeted at them, and I was like, everyone else is posting their Black Friday sales, where are yours? And I didn't even get a response. So I went to their website and I was like, okay, I'll chat with customer support. Me thinking, well, we prepare our customer service team for the sales. Maybe they'll know. Oh, I don't get that information, or something to the effect that customer service rep said. I was like, what do you mean you don't have the information? Like, is there not a sale? They didn't even know. They didn't even know if there was or was not. They had no idea. So here I am as someone wanting to prepare to give them money. And I'm like, well, am I going to wait? I don't even know the answer. I'm going to go spend my money somewhere else. And so I went to all these different touch points, didn't get the answer that I wanted.
Yeah, Jess, that's actually like such a good point as well. I think we've all had those experiences. I had one recently too, where, I was on their website and their website gave me a certain amount of information. I called their customer service and they were like, no, that's not how it works. And later I went back and was like, no, your website says this and I have it. And you realize, are they all talking to each other? And this is a brand I've been loyal to for years, that recently I've been like, their experience, they're not all in sync. It doesn't make sense. And it's kind of affected my loyalty. So, that's a really big part of it, as well. But with that, I have our first question that came in. Do you think customer service, because I know that's something you mentioned in particular, is that the most critical touch point for a good customer experience? I know you're going to kind of go into some of them, but where does that sit as it relates to some of the other touch points?
I don't think that the answer is it more or less critical as a whole, because I think each touch point is critical at a certain point in the customer journey. So, someone who is ready to purchase from you and doesn't need to talk to anyone on customer service, no, customer service isn't going to be important to that individual, customer, because they're ready to make a purchase. But is it less important overall? No. And so you can't really, rank them against each other, and I will talk about that a little bit, but it's more about when and how and where do you prioritize these touch points. Because I do know, especially we work with startups, you can't do everything at once. You got to build up your brand, but then we compare them to our bigger clients and we're like, well, look at what you're going to get to if we prepare to get there, right? So hopefully that kind of answered your question, but we'll talk about it a little more. So
Great.
I always say be where they are. And they are everywhere. And they're even places that you wouldn't even think. And that's a problem. Because if a customer is out in the digital universe talking about you and you don't know it, you cannot control the conversation. Now, when I say be where they are, it doesn't mean you need to be necessarily active where they are. For instance, we have some clients that just don't want to put effort into Twitter, and that's totally fine, right? But we're still monitoring Twitter. We have alerts set up that when someone tweets that brand name, we're still going to see it. And then that gives us the opportunity to say, hey, client, people are talking about you on this platform. We need to come up with a strategy because this conversation is getting out of hand, right? We have clients who don't want online chat simply because of the time that it can take and the bill that it can, create for managing online chat. But what can the client do to mitigate the need for chat, right? How do we make sure that, we give them clear email response time hours, or make sure there's enough, knowledge on the website. If there's a knowledge base for a product that requires instructions, like you can't necessarily do them all, but you have to think about how to cover your bases in these places where you can't be. So one of the ones, with social, I have this example here that I really like, is if you can't be, for instance, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever the channels that you can't be are, leave a note that says, hey, this is our account, like own your brand name, always own it. Claim every possible username on every platform, Snapchat, even if your age group is 50, like grab them all, because you don't want someone else to have your brand name and use it. I don't know if, I don't hope I don't age myself, even though I'm not that old, but like back when Netflix wanted to like be Quickster, and then this guy owned the Quickster Twitter, and they had a whole war over like trying to buy that Twitter name, and then he just went rogue on, it was a bad deal. Like they should have, Netflix should have known to go after the Twitter account before changing their name, right? So you can't let someone else control that, because some customers may not know that it's not you. Someone could be pretending to be you, right? That's not a good thing. So make sure you own them, and then lock them down. Say, hey, we don't post here actively, so you found us, but we're not here. When you do want to, engage with us, find us on these platforms. Now, excuse my mock-up. It should have a photo. It should have a brand photo. I just didn't have anything to put in there. Similarly for search, people are going to search and they're going to find you. They're going to find you through there. Do the best that you can to make sure that your SEO is clean. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to do backlinking and all these, big SEO. We don't do SEO. We just make sure that it works properly when we build sites, right? But you should make sure that the pages that are ranking, the meta description is accurate. Because if someone's going to search you and find, oh, like this product, I was looking for it, and then they read the little description and it says something else, well, you're going to even lose them there, right? So just make sure that that's accurate. Email. Email is a great touch point to be on, both for automations, for blasts, for customer service. People will give you their email addresses if you can give them something in return. It doesn't mean you need to email them every single day. In fact, do not send email blasts to everyone every single day. That is a bad idea. It's a very bad idea. But collect them, be there, so that when there is a chance that you can send a message to them, you have the opportunity, right? Now, it's not to say you set up an email capture and you collect email addresses for 3 years and never do anything with it, because then they become stale and they're useless. But be there, set up a welcome flow, something that shows that you're alive and that they feel like you're there and there's something going on, right? In terms of, so we talked about online chat, but I do really, really strongly recommend online chat. Especially with e-commerce, your online chat is essentially your retail associate. So, we have a lot of clients who don't really, or at least I have to educate them, the startups especially, that just because you can build a business online and you don't have the overhead of a space and, you don't have to worry about a lease and all that, doesn't mean that your business is any less like a store, and you have to treat it the same way. So if you had a store, you're going to be there. It's not going to be an empty store. You're going to either be you or retail associates, or someone is going to be there to talk to customers. And that's what online chat is for, is if a customer has a question, you are there to answer it, right? Because if you're not there, they're going to walk right out, right? How many times have you walked into a store and not seen someone there and been like, okay, I'm just going to leave. This is weird, right? Same thing. Now, we're not here to talk about all the customer service tools that we use, but we are talking about Gorgeous a little bit later. So I will say Gorgeous is great for customer service. We're a premium partner with them as well. And they have chat campaigns that encourage people to respond to an online chat that's actually like given to them. Now, your team is not the one sending chats out into the ether and like trying to talk to people on your store. It happens automatically. And then if someone responds, then it triggers like an agent to say, oh, hey, cool, yeah, let's chat, right? So don't worry, you're not like creeping people on your site. But I think that's a pretty important touch point to be on. Similarly with tickets, it's different than regular email tickets when you're using a customer service tool like Gorgeous. You need that. I just did an audit for like a multi-million-dollar business that is handling customer service in an Outlook inbox, and I wanted to cry because there was no strategy. There were no macros. Macros are the automatic responses that you can just click and send. There was no business insight, like what are the trends? How long does it take to respond to an email? Like none of that. So we had no idea how their customer service was working. Was it even generating revenue? Like your customer service team should be generating at a minimum like 1% of your revenue. 1%, like that's nothing. And you can do that by talking to people coming to your store, answering questions, or saving sales if someone wants a refund, right? We'll talk about how you can do that in reviews as well. But if you've got a good customer service team and someone has a question and they want to return their product because they don't think it's what they want, if you can't either convince them to keep it or offer them something else, you are missing huge opportunities in your customer service right now. Phones are also a really good place to be. It's hard. Phones are hard. You do need a good team to be able to do it. You have to be very specific about your hours. You do have to be prepared, depending on the demographic that you have, that some customers like to talk. We do have some clients with a 70 plus demographic who are very sweet, but need a lot of help, just want to tell us about their days. But we know that that demographic prefers phone. So we're there to ultimately close a sale or help them check out a lot of the time. It's just how to click the buttons to check out. But that one I wouldn't say is super necessary unless you consistently see through your tickets or your chats, I just want to speak to someone. That's how you know you need to be on phones. I'll come back to reviews in a second, but I think the biggest thing here to really take away is that you don't have to do everything perfectly, but if you can't do it perfectly, don't do it and drive them to where you can, right? So if you can't be on every social platform, tell them where you can be, where they can find you. Keep an eye still, like I said, keep an eye on the conversations that are having. Hire, our CS team will do what we call proactive engagement and social listening, where we go out and scope out the space and make sure that there aren't angry people talking about you, but you don't need to actively post there. Make sure your website is up to date. I didn't actually put website, even though that's your biggest touch point, but that's what we're talking about here is your brand, which is your website. But make sure that it's configured properly for search and that, again, you have enough information for customers there. Using email, collecting emails, first party data, you owning someone's email address is now more important than ever. Again, not here to talk about advertising. If you're not collecting emails, don't leave this webinar, but right after this webinar, go and put a pop-up on your website because you need those email addresses. But online chat, tickets, phones are really, really important for engaging with your customers.
Yeah.
Do we have a question or should I go into reviews?
Yeah, so we actually have a question about that. And kind of somewhere with what you said of even if you can't fully commit to it, have some presence. So the question is, if you can't offer consistent chat, is it still actually worth it to have it?
Yes, it is. It is so worth it. So for some of our clients, we do cover 10 a.m. to 12 a.m., basically most of the day. And then other clients don't want to pay for that. So what we've done is a couple different things. We've on the contact information on the website, we've made it very clear that our website chat hours are, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or whatever they are. We've used automation. So you can, again, sorry to talk about Gorgeous, but Gorgeous has some automations where you can actually set up, the chat to do it for you. Though there will be a point usually, if someone's like, where's my order? You can set up an automation that pulls the data. Oh, here's your order. It's being tracked. Here's your tracking info. And then it can help a lot of people, but sometimes they still want to chat because that's not, the answer is not satisfying them, and then it'll get sent to an agent. So just have an autoresponder set up saying, we're outside our chat, we'll get back to you. And then as long as you're actually responding to those chats, which get converted to email, that's fine. But again, just be upfront, be clear about when you are available, and make sure that as soon as you're available, you're going back to the people who contacted you when you were offline.
Great.
Cool. All right. Next slide. All right.
Yeah.
So this is why I've been talking about Gorgeous, because it's the crux of customer service. But Okendo has a really cool new integration that Lindsay's going to talk about.
We're really excited. Everyone on this webinar is getting kind of a sneak peek of our upcoming Okendo and Gorgeous integration. So we're expecting this to launch within a few weeks. So again, Jess is one of our early adopters for this. So we wanted her to kind of share the value and, the purpose of this is to share, like I said, the benefits of having these types of integrations. But of course, once we actually do launch, you will be getting an email with, everything from how it works, technical documents, all of that. So stay tuned, but we kind of wanted to give everyone here a little bit of a sneak peek of what is soon to come, because we're really excited about this. We know it's going to bring a lot of value to our merchants. So Jess, I'll kick it off.
Yes. I'm so excited about it. Okay, so I do have a best practices on another side, but I think this is a really good place to kind of talk about it, because if we go back to what the full circle approach means, again, it means having that consistent messaging and understanding on every touch point. But what it also means in customer service is having enough information about your customers so that they know that you know about them already. Like, similarly, when you're asking a question here and asking a question there and you're not getting a right answer, how frustrating it is. It's even worse when you're like, I talked to someone on Facebook Messenger and they told me to go to you, and then it's email, and email's like, oh, well, tell me about the problem. And it's like, well, I just told the person on Facebook Messenger, why can't you share that information, right? And so in Okendo, what it's now doing with, or will do with Gorgeous, is it'll give you more insight into what these customers have thought about your products, because they will have their reviews all listed on the side. So on Gorgeous, you normally have those sidebars with Shopify, Recharge, all the other integrations. Okendo is going to be there, and it's going to let you see the most recent 5 reviews that they've left and click right to it. So if you're seeing someone come in and leave a negative review, even though they've left 5 other ones that are positive, you know that this customer is loyal. They've spent the time to buy your products. They've come back and bought more products from you. They've left reviews multiple times that were positive. And so here's an opportunity for you to slide in and, convince them that they do really like you. Say, oh, we've seen the reviews that you've posted. We know that you love this product and that product. We're so sorry that this one isn't working for you. Maybe can we give you a free of this one that you do like? And then, maybe that one that they did buy didn't work for them, but you could give them a free one of one that that they do like, and you've just saved this customer from their anger. They were angry enough to leave a review, right? So it's really important to have that insight into your customers to give proactive solutions that they don't even have to ask for. Like, you just come to them with that solution because you have enough information about it. Obviously it's improved efficiency. We do respond to every review response, which I'll show you in a little bit. Takes a lot of time, but it's worth it, and I'll show why. But this makes it easier because you can actually respond to reviews within Gorgeous using tags and macros, so you don't have to go to the separate platforms and go back. It all is in one spot. And then it's within the integration, so you can add tags, and it's part of your business insights within Gorgeous as well, which is really important. And then it has sentiment, so you can pull out your negative sentiment reviews and triage those first. Make sure that you're handling them as fast as possible, which, if you're using Gorgeous properly, you are already doing. You are already going after negative comments, unhappy emails, people who want to cancel orders. Those should already be in their own views that you are triaging first, and now you can add Okendo to that as well. And there's more stuff, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. So
Yes, no, so much coming soon. Thank you, Jess, for taking a little bit of time and talking about that, because like I said, we're really excited. We think this is going to contribute to, reviews are such one of the easiest ways to get that direct feedback from your customers as it relates to products. So in terms of the experience overall, being able to capture that data is really important. With that, I forgot we had a poll though, just to kind of understand how important Gorgeous and Okendo integration is for you guys. So we'll leave that launching. Launch that right now. We'll give you guys a few minutes as Jess is going through the rest of the presentation to get that answered.
Oh, cool. Should I vote? It gave me the poll.
Yeah.
Oh no, it says I can't vote. It says I can't vote, but it gives me the poll anyway. All right, I'll let you guys vote. And while you're doing that, let's talk about best practices with customer service. So nothing bothers me more than when I have to ask a question multiple times and when I get different answers. Okay. You should all know the same answer. It should all be the same answer. You should be giving the same answer. And how do you do that? With documentation. Now, at InSocial, we document every single possible question, comment, anything that could happen or has happened, there is an answer for it, whether it's in a macro, there's steps of like when you refund, when you give a discount, when you don't, what happens if someone's not happy with you giving them only 10%. Everything has a process, because you need to be able to give a consistent answer to everyone. You need to be able to say, we do this for everyone. Like, you're not going to find anyone else. They're not going to talk to a friend who, ended up getting 15%. Like, it's all what it is. This is the process. It's very clear. Everyone on your team knows what to do. It can be efficient, easy to do. Now, that being said, there is always a thing that has happened for the first time. Even if you've been doing customer service for years and years, there's always that thing that you never thought would happen and then has happened. One of my favorite ones, and actually when we hire for our digital support squad, we have a technical interview where we ask them situations, we give them situations and we say, how would you solve this situation? And there are things that have actually happened. And my favorite one is we had a client who sold anti-thigh chafing undergarments. So they're meant for bigger women. The brand is very body positive. We were doing all their marketing, all their customer service. That's important. I'll say in a little bit. And someone comes in and gives, I don't know which size to buy. Please help me. We have a size chart, give us your measurements. We have it all documented. We know exactly what to tell you. She gave them to us. We told her what size to get. She was the biggest size. She bought 4 pairs and came back 2 weeks later saying they were too small. Now, for a brand that talks about being extremely body positive and loving every body at every size and then not having a size for this particular body, it was a very tough situation. And so we had to look back at all our other processes, like when can we give a refund? What's the messaging that we give here? And what we ended up saying, to this particular customer was, we're going to refund. It's not returnable because it's underwear. Keep them, donate them, give them to a friend. You have taught us a lesson. We need to go back. We need to develop for more sizes. And we, appreciate that you are educating us on this. And luckily, thankfully, I guess it comes down to documentation and knowing how to figure out the best next steps from that. The customer was very thankful, didn't take it the wrong way. And we ended up, giving the best outcome to this particular customer, which was a very difficult situation for her, I'm sure. So documentation was really important. And then of course that situation went into the document. So if it happened again, we knew exactly what to do. Next is keeping your CS team in the loop. So what I've been saying this entire time, if there's a sale, if there's a new ad campaign, if something has changed, a product is out of stock, tell your CS team. I love all of my clients so much, but when we get customers saying, oh, this product is out of stock, when is it coming back? And we're like, we didn't know it was out of stock. No one told us. What is the plan here? What's the timeline? Like, we have no answer, right? So we have to then go to the client. We have to get the answer, and that customer is waiting for us to have an accurate answer, as opposed to the client saying, okay, inventory levels are low. When this happens, you can give people a discount or tell them it's a 2-week lead time, whatever it is. Keep your team in the loop. If there's a sale and you're running that sale on ads and a customer comes and says, oh, I saw this discount code, but it's not working. How do we know that it's a true discount code? A lot of our clients, we have access to their Shopify discounts, but we have clients that run TV commercials that have discount codes. How do we know that someone's not bullshitting us, right? If you're not giving us that information, what are we going to say? Oh, we don't believe you, customer? And then they're like, well, I just took a picture of the commercial I saw again. Here it is. Like, how annoying is that, right? So keep your CS team in the loop. If an email campaign is going out and your reply to is to the customer service team, let them know so that they can expect to be receiving replies to an email, especially if it is an engagement type of email campaign where you're asking questions. Because then what is your customer service team supposed to say back, right? Tell your customer service team, keep them in the loop. I cannot stress that enough. And again, that's why in social, we do everything and we collaborate together so everyone knows what the messaging is and what the expectations are, and customers are happy. Connect the communication dots. This is one that not a lot of brands do. Like, I rarely see it, and I can't believe we're basically the only ones that do it. If a customer comes to you on a Facebook comment and says, oh, I'm getting these ads, but I haven't gotten my order yet, that's so annoying. Well, first of all, now there's a comment on an ad that you're paying to show to other people. So you should be hiding that comment immediately. And then your customer service team, if it's the same team as your community management team, like it is for us, or you have someone else who's going to talk to your customer service team, go to that customer and say, we're so sorry. Email us, we'll be waiting for you, because you don't want to give too much personal information on a public comment, right? So you tell them to email, and then that community manager goes to your customer service team and says, hey, look out for this person, this name. And then if that person emails and doesn't say anything, just says, hey, I can't find my order, like, where is it? The customer service team can be ready to say, oh, we checked tracking already, like we saw you were coming from Facebook, we checked for you, this is where it is. if it doesn't show up in 2 days, let us know. We've already given you a discount for 10% off for the trouble, whatever it is. That customer now knows that they complained in one place. The team got together and talked about her situation and already had a solution for her ready to go, right? Nothing feels better than when you are being handheld through a problem, right? All that there's no justification to be angry and mad if they're literally being like, it's all here for you. It may not be the answer you want right away, but we've done what we can to make this as easy as possible. So the only way to do that is to make sure if someone talks to you on one touch point, again, whatever touch point that is, be there, answer them, make sure whoever else is continuing the conversation is already in the loop, already knows what's going on, maybe has checked the other reviews that they've left to see that they're a loyal customer, and then has given them a free product of something they left 5 stars on, right? Always direct them to sign up for emails, follow on social, share discount sale opportunities with them if they're happy, right? Why not use your customer service team to build up your email list? Do not get your customer service team to just automatically add people to your email list. That is a bad idea. Don't do that. That is the same client that I audited that uses Outlook was also manually putting emails into Klaviyo, which is literally against the law. Please don't do that. Instead, give them a link to sign up, tell them about following on social, what they can get there. Again, it's your retail team. Make the most out of them, right? That's why treat customer service as your retail team. So teach them how to save a sale, make a sale. They're not just people across the pond, though they might be depending on who you're working with. But for us, at least, we hire local Canadians who are young adults and university educated or students or whatever, just as if they were working at a retail store here. Same thing, what do they need to be taught to help save or make that sale? Biggest missed opportunity a lot of people take. And then respond to everything, every single thing. Even if it is bad, respond to it, everything. Now, there are situations where someone's gonna leave a very nasty review. And if it's on Okendo, luckily you can hide it. But if it's on Facebook or if it's on Google My Business or wherever public that you don't have that control, it's going to be there. And there's nothing you can do about it, except you can respond. And when you respond, you should have your team, whoever's responding, be as accurate as possible in this situation. If the customer is irate and it's their own fault because they placed the order for pickup instead of delivery and then they're mad that it didn't come, clearly say, we're so sorry that there was confusion, but you placed your order for pickup. If you would like us to, have it shipped, we can facilitate that. Just contact us, right? You're giving clear information on what happened. If another customer sees that review and they read your very accurate and calm response, they're going to be like, wow, this person's clearly crazy, right? Respond to it, okay? And then if they're happy, respond to them as well. Why not? Why not have another touch point with your clients or your customers to show that you're there? Actually, I skipped one. Okay, this one is my favorite thing that we did that happened. So like I said, treat your CS team like your retail team. And we're using gorgeous here, so these are gorgeous screenshots. One day, we had someone come for a client on their Instagram post and made a joke saying, oh, I'll need you to reply next Thursday when I get paid so I can buy the product because they don't have money, they need payday. So our team in Gorgeous snoozed the ticket for Thursday. And when that time rolled around, we went back and we said, hey, it's Thursday. And they bought the product. And then they posted about it saying, oh, this was on YouTube. They had originally posted on Instagram. And then they went to YouTube on a YouTube video and said, wow, I just placed my order. I asked your IG rep to message me a week later when I got paid, and they did. LOL, thanks. We just made a sale, right? Just from paying attention to what our customers were saying. And then we got other comments. And then we've gotten other comments from other people being like, I appreciate how much you guys are actually responding. Like, we're responding to everyone, good and bad, and they know that we're there and we're interactive, and people really appreciate it, right? Just make sure you're not saying the same thing to everyone. Don't copy paste the same answers, because again, they'll see it, right? They can scroll up and they can read it. We don't do that. We treat everyone individually, and clearly it makes a difference. So with reviews, always respond to reviews, again, even if they're good, and of course, if they're bad. Why not use a touch point where you can respond to someone who's happy and thank them for leaving the review, because, they may not have left a review until a couple weeks after using the product. And then, not really think that they might be out of the product, but then as soon as you email them back, they'll get an email from Okendo saying that, there's a response. Maybe that reminds them, oh yeah, I need to order more. Like they, clearly they're paying attention to me. I should go back and place another order, right? And then with the negative reviews, really, really bad ones you should hide, especially if they're inaccurate from people who don't understand what they've done wrong. But it's not a bad idea to keep some negative reviews on your page, especially if you're responding to them. So similarly, like I said, if someone was mad that they forgot that they placed it for pickup, say that clearly. Ask people how they can earn these stars from you, right? This one was a weird one. The one at the bottom is, this guy was like, I strongly believe in your product. It helps me. He left a photo of his own face about how happy he is, but he left 3 stars. Like, what? So we responded and we said, we're so happy, but how could we have earned those 2 stars? And a lot of the time people will go, oh, I didn't even realize I clicked 3. I'll update it and it'll be 5, right? Or they'll actually respond and give you feedback and be like, well, yes, I left a good review because I wanted to, but just so you know, like, this is why I wasn't super happy. And maybe that's an opportunity to give them a discount, another free product, thank them for the insight that they've given you. It's just another way to talk to your customers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
any questions?
Yeah, we say too that, like, I think it's about 4.2 to 4.7 average star rating that converts the highest, because if you're just showing all positive reviews, consumers can actually tell that you're doing that and it loses that authenticity. But when they see that there are some negatives, they do actually believe that, like, yes, someone had a bad experience, but overall it's a great product. And especially if you're responding, we actually had a client just tell us that they did heat mapping on their PDPs and they were looking at where people stopped, and people stopped the most at 1-star reviews. But if you were able to actually respond and mitigate and show that, like, you as a brand cared and were taking care of it, it didn't really affect conversion at all. So that was just something really interesting that we've seen at Okendo too. But I do see a question that came in as it relates to positive reviews. So do you recommend that for positive reviews that it's the support team that answers that, or should there be like a community manager or an e-commerce manager or someone else apart from the service side responding to those?
It depends on the team competency, I think. Not to say anything bad about overseas help, but sometimes they don't necessarily have the nuance to respond properly if they're not given a macro, right? And if they are given a macro and you scroll through and you see the responses and they're all the same, again, it's public, right? It's not a one-on-one email communication. So it really depends. Like, our customer service team does it. It's under the same rate because, to have an e-commerce manager or marketing person do it is more expensive. But if you're doing this in-house, it's really, again, like, is the time for that individual best spent responding to reviews, or do you have someone else and make sure that they're trained and competent do it, but then, report on the data or use, the insights from Okendo, because that part of the team should still understand what's going on, but they may not need to be the one going through it. We have had some clients that have liked to sit and like scroll through. Sometimes they've liked to respond as the owner because, that's just the brand that they have and they wanted to do that. But I think it's just a personal preference, as long as, again, it's a competent person who can understand nuances in reviews and isn't using macros. Yeah. Oh, when things go wrong. So I kind of really pretty much talked about this throughout all of this because things always go wrong. But respond to everything, but don't show everything. So again, hide the really bad reviews, especially if you did mess up. As long as you're responding to them and you're trying to make the most of it, hide it. When I say don't show everything and hide things, there's a difference between hiding and deleting, especially on Facebook and Instagram. If you delete a comment and someone is really mad, they will be watching. And if you delete it, they will come back and be like, you just deleted my comment. What are you trying to hide? And it can get crazy. But on Facebook, you can actually hide so that person still sees their response, but other people don't, and you can still see it. Now, sorry again to Gorgeous. Gorgeous lets you hide comments on Instagram. You can't actually hide comments on Instagram native, but you can on Gorgeous. So that's why we use it. Similarly, because if you can't, then you're deleting it, people get mad. So just be careful how you're approaching it. If you maybe leave it for a couple weeks and then you delete it on Instagram, if you're not using Gorgeous, just be a little careful. When people are mad, they will, and I speak again as a really bad customer when things go wrong. I will call you out for that. So I promise I'm a nice person most of the time, but just when that happens. So gather that information, right? Make sure that you're really looking at where this negativity came from, where this review came from. Why are they upset? Did they get the wrong product? But then you look at their order and they placed the order for that product. You know, did they tell you what they thought they would have gotten? Is there a way that you can, say, oh, it looks like you did order this, but you may have wanted this. We can, send it back. You can get this for free, whatever. Get the information you need to give an answer that is all encompassing and makes them feel, again, like you've paid attention and you have a solution there for him. And being factual and respectful. I'm sure you guys have seen the things on the internet where like business owner goes rogue on, negative reviewer. Like sometimes that works, doesn't work a lot of the time. It just reflects poorly on you and the brand. So always be respectful, factual. If you did make a mistake, own up to it. Again, if you're showing on the 1-star reviews that you're taking action, you're apologizing, it can actually improve conversion rates, right? Like it's showing that you are there if something goes wrong and you can fix it. Always direct to private communication channels after the initial conversation. So like I said, on Facebook, bring them into email or on phone. You just don't want to share too much personal. Like it's not fair to that customer either to be like, well, it was delivered to this address. Like don't do that. Take it offline. And then again, that conversation, if they continue to be mad, is now in private that not everyone else is seeing. All they're seeing is that you've spoken to them and you're handling it elsewhere. Sometimes we have seen people go back to their negative comments on Facebook and respond again, being like, okay, I spoke to someone on email, thank you, it's been handled, right? So that also goes a really long way. And encourage more positive reviews from happy customers. Like you're going to get the negative ones, it happens, and you should have them. But if you have a lot of good ones, it also balances it out, right? So take advantage of the happy customers. Make sure your Okendo flows are actually on. You can incentivize people if they're not giving you reviews. You can incentivize them more if you ask them to leave photos or videos, which is great for user-generated content. So don't forget that. Don't only focus on the bad, focus on the good as well. And that's it.
Awesome. We had one question come in while you were on the last slide, but if anyone else has any questions, please enter them in the chat. Remember, panelists and attendees. But with that question that just came in before, so if the CS team is seeing a pattern in things that customers are kind of complaining about, like seeing the same things over and over again, how do you ensure that that feedback is brought to the rest of the organization?
It depends on internal communications, but on Slack, we go, hey, everyone, like, this is what's happening. Let's get in a huddle. Like, let's talk about what we can do here, or go to the client and say, this is what we're seeing, right? One of the situations that we had that we test our teams on when we're hiring is it was right before Christmas. And we had a client that was selling these gift boxes, like not the boring, like chocolate and teddy bears, but like themed ones. And one of the themed ones was whiskey glasses and those metal ice cubes. Mm-hmm. And it was like the most popular. Everyone was sending them for Christmas. And then we started getting emails, one after the other. The glasses are broken. The glasses are broken. The glasses are broken. And it's 2 weeks before Christmas. So replacement glasses are not going to get there in time for Christmas. And so what we actually did is, we were also their marketing team, is we had to come up with an idea. We were like, oh, well, this is clearly our fault. We told, the client to stop shipping, or to, I think they paused shipping, but then they went back and we looked at how they were packaging it. We gave them, all the information so they could get credits from their, shipping company, because like they were not packed terribly. But we had to come up with an idea to solve this problem. And what we did is we created this holiday card that the customers could print out, as because they wanted a gift to give, right? So we made them this card that they could print out that blamed us, the brand, for not having a gift to give them, and then we shipped them the replacements. But all the customers wanted, it's Christmas, you want to hand someone something, so we made this card that they could print and give. And not everyone loved it, but a good chunk of them were like, wow, like, we really appreciate that you did that, even though it kind of sucks, but it's better than nothing. And, the giftee probably got a kick out of it, right? And then they ended up getting the gift, they were replaced a couple of weeks later. But, it's just about getting together as a team, coming up with a strategy, making sure everyone's involved that needs to be involved, and then, implementing it properly.
I love that. I think it's great. Like you said, it's taking responsibility, making it right with the customer, but in a memorable, personalized, different way. So that's fantastic. So we've actually have a few more questions that have come in. So if you have a CS budget to go over and above for customers, like paying for expedited shipping for a wedding purchase, any recommendations on how to spend it? I have 500 per month for this kind of thing.
I mean, I think it's an as seen, like what's coming up. I mean, if someone comes and says that they really like this product, but you're out of stock, you could pre-order it for them or something. I'm just trying to think, like, it's hard to know without what the product is, but could you give them another product that you guys work with? We have clients that partner with other brands and say, like, here's a gift card to our partner that, you may want to buy from. Or I don't know, it's tough. It has to be brand specific.
Sparkling water producer. We just got that answer for you.
Ooh, sparkling water producer. Snacks, like send snacks with the water. Like, that would be so fun. Like, if I ordered and I got just extra snacks, like, I would just be like, this is great. Now I have what I'm going to eat this weekend, on the couch. It's just something to surprise and delight. I think it was Zappos, like the CEO who unfortunately passed away, like his whole thing was do whatever you can to make the customer happy. I think one of the stories that he has was he delivered someone a pair of shoes to an airport, I think. Obviously that was based on location and where you are, and is that possible? But maybe getting a courier, if you have a warehouse or somewhere nearby, just those things that if you were the customer, what would make you happy, right? It could be anything. Yeah.
Love that idea. Perfect. So next question. What if you're a one-man show for CS team? Do you set everything up as you are a team for when the team expands? What's the best advice you could give to a one-man show CS to provide the best support, but also apply best practices?
That's a good question, because that's actually how I built my company, and people kind of laugh at me, but when I started in social, I had left being a program manager at another agency, and I had built all these processes at their agency. And then obviously I was like, well, why can't I just do it for myself? So when it was just me, I took all the practices that I had developed for this agency and built them into mine, even though it was just me. So the folder structures, I was using Slack for myself. Like, I had set up all these things so that as soon as someone came in, documentation was there, brand guidelines were there. Like, when a new client comes in, this is what we have to ask. And so whatever you would want your CS team to do once you bring them in, yes, it makes sense to build those processes now, to use a tool like Gorgeous to set up the macros. It's going to make your life easier too. Like, it just helped me to know that I file things here. I know where to find it, right? Like, I just love organization anyway, and just why not spend the time to do it? And then it just makes your life easier. Yeah.
Great. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in at the moment, but this was great. Thank you so much, Jess, for coming. I think everyone found this to be really helpful, really insightful. You provided so many actionable tips for everyone. So thank you so much. Like I said, everyone, you'll be getting a copy of the recording, a copy of the deck as well in the follow-up email, and we'll be including in Social's website. So if you're interested in talking to Jess about anything more, you can contact her there. But other than that, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. This was great. Thank you so much, Jess, and have a great day, everyone.